Well, let's get started. I think everyone is ready, so we can begin together. Let's say hello. Yes, greetings to everyone. So, I think we'll slowly start now. It's been a while since we've seen each other, about a month ago, maybe more. Our last session was in June. A lot has happened since then, and I'd like to start. Swisstronik's our favorite topic. Basically, a brief discussion about the awards. A wrap-up of the season. Maybe some of you have particular impressions you'd like to share, and we can talk about what's coming next. There was an announcement about the upcoming second season, as far as I understood. So, briefly, Alexander, maybe you could answer. Everyone received them. I don't know. Maybe one or two people didn't. But out of those who applied, you could say everyone got theirs.
So Drop distributed, Swisstronik distributed, network launched. To check amount of rewards, a leaderboard set. Actually, there were questions about why it happened this way. I can explain that. First of all, the distribution of the drop isn't entirely up to us. We make suggestions here, but the final decisions are made by those who are selling the drop. In this context, that's the Swisstronik team. That's the first point. The second point is about why this particular distribution system was used. Here I want to note that more tokens were distributed than under the previous conditions. That is, previously, only those who, let's say, kept the tokens for themselves would have received them. But now we distributed absolutely all the tokens that were available. That means both the burned tokens and the unburned tokens, simply based on a leaderboard system. Well, that's regarding the distribution. As for what happens next, there will be a second season in Swisstronik. I'll write about it soon. Well, I've already started. I'll write a post with as much detail as possible about how the mechanics will work there. Well, the mechanics are basically similar. Drones miners involved. But this mechanic will work differently. So it's just a new game cycle, kind of a different one. Basically, anyone who enjoys mining will appreciate it, I think. So it's basically a completely new mechanic using what we already have. We just mix together all the features we currently have. And I'll add here that the ultimate size of the final pool will depend. Basically, it significantly depends on precisely how many NFTs users currently have. Yeah, so there will be a considerable war for NFTs going on there. But that's, actually a bit of a spoiler, so I won't reveal too much more at this particular moment. Of course, this will be explained in the post. But sometimes people ask, what's the point? Well, that's the point. Yeah, that's the point of Swisstronik, too. The season will be about accumulating NFTs, because the lottery, which will have a prize pool inside, will be distributed based on NFTs. So there will be an element of randomness, of course, but the chance. Just like in, the lottery. The more NFTs you have, the higher your chances that yours will be drawn, and you'll get rewards for them, right? Distribution. So, the person who accumulates the most NFTs will have the highest chance in the drop distribution. And the point is to balance it, so you don't overdo it like a fool. Like when you're playing cards, you keep taking more and more, and then suddenly realize what you're doing. Basically, the same applies to Swisstronik. We're planning to launch Swisstronik, as we wrote in August. I think it will be at the beginning, not the end. I believe it will be at the start. We're aiming for end of July or beginning of August, hoping everything goes to plan. As for how much the drop is, we've written about it. That is, there will be 35,000 SWTR, and also 50% of the USDT fund that gets collected there. Directly during the season.
There was a bit of a break. I'm not sure if it was my connection or yours.
Yeah, it's Telegram. It glitches sometimes.
As for rewards, specifically for Swisstronik tokens, I haven't seen the stats, but from what I've seen in the chat, the vast majority have received more tokens. Some people got a little more, some got about 1.5 times more, and some even got twice as much.
Some people got less. Those are rare cases, but what can you do?
But the reward system was the same for everyone, so it's not surprising everyone still got something. Maybe some people just didn't level up enough. But overall, it's clear. We're waiting for the second season, most likely at the beginning of August. There will be a lottery. In short, 35,000 SVTR tokens and 50% of the entire USDT pool that's spent there.
That's right, yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. We'll post the detailed mechanics sometime this week, I think, or the second season, so people can study and prepare, see how everything will happen. The event is planned to last for 3 months.
Now let's move on to some rather unexpected, relatively speaking, news. Something just happened. The interface has been updated. The interface update happened after the start of the AMO session. So, if you haven't checked Pixel since the AMO session started, you can close Pixel, exit, open it again, or just refresh the page. But I think you definitely need to open the interface. Yeah, click around the menu for a bit. Check it out. The main navigation menu has been added at the bottom. Basically, our old menu has been split into sections. And now, everything is displayed at the bottom at the lower part of the screen. Tiles on the main screen are some interface elements for quick understanding. In the end, this will be further developed, added to the point that in the future, it may even be possible to change the widget type. Well, that's already.
I'll add from you. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I'll add something from you regarding the new interface. Here. Some people really liked it. Some really didn't. Some find it convenient. Others don't. From my side, I can say that this design was put together after quite a deep market analysis. In general, of gaming and gaming-related apps. So it's not just pulled out of thin air. We conducted extensive product analysis, and, essentially, this design was created according to modern standards. Based on the current market, so to speak, what's out there now. And it was designed with the idea that we want to keep developing, so it would be convenient for us to do that, to attract new users in the future, and so on. So the new design was created with that in mind. And as Mikhail mentioned, yes, basically there will be an option to add your own widgets. Well, that's coming in the next iteration, but either way, we've already planned for it. And users will be able to build the dashboard they need themselves, so that it's convenient for them to effectively manage their entire ecosystem, or something along those lines.
So, I don't think there will be any questions about the new interface for now. I guess, well, let's slowly move on to syndicates, since today we had another session with Posemlum. And some of the questions were about lands, and some were about syndicates. I'll start with the basics, because we've already discussed this topic, but still, not all users have seen it, not all users have heard about it. The fundamental question is for those individuals who genuinely do not wish to participate in syndicates, meaning those who absolutely do not want to join any syndicates. What practical mechanics remain available for them? What viable options do they truly have? Is the sole and only option for someone who unequivocally does not want to join an existing syndicate to necessarily create their very own syndicate and just stick to one specific issue?
And, accordingly, trading on the marketplace. completing current achievements for the distribution of this retro drop that we will be allocating. Basically, that's probably it. So moving forward, the mechanics will shift into syndicates. That is, we're entering the next stage of the economy. And there, it turns out, interaction with lands, buildings, resource extraction, and converting pixels into a liquid token will all be involved. Further on, what we're planning and laying out, the mechanics, it will only be available through the syndicate. Essentially, that's the next content. It's like when a new patch comes out in a game. It's big, and you might ask, can I not play it and just stick with the previous patch? You can, but if you've already completed the previous patch, then there's nothing left for you to play.
Trading on the marketplace. This means mining pixel DAS with drones, packaging it, and selling it.
Selling, crafting boosters, all of that is still available. Crafting, trading on the market, and mine pixels haven't gone anywhere.
I think that's clear. Next question. How exactly will the eventual sale of this particular land parcel ultimately take place?
The sale of land will basically happen within the land interface, meaning directly on the actual map itself. So there will be a world map divided into 6 biomes, 2 of which will be available. There will be 1 at the base, available in the first iteration. And through the world map, you just pick a tile you like and buy the land either with pixel or with SGB. Well, then there's a roll inside, meaning you could also roll the land so that you can change it from, say, a common 1 to something higher. But if you don't get what you want right away, you can roll again. Basically, the land will be needed to build resource structures on it within syndicates. So, essentially, the land will be rented out to a syndicate, and for that you'll get activity points, which will determine how the drop is distributed within the syndicate. That is, whatever the syndicate manages to extract over a certain period of time.
Before selling the land, will you publish a comprehensive table showing precisely how much land a syndicate can own, how many buildings, that kind of ratio, so there's much more clarity?
About this extraction mechanic?
Well, yeah, I think we'll definitely do that, so everyone understands how much they'll need to buy. Dungeons as well, and probably the prices should be published too. At the same time.
Well, in any case, yes, that was just the first post. So read it, study it. There will be more posts about the lands in the next week or week and a half. We'll probably make a couple more posts, and those will explain the mechanics in more detail, give some numbers, yes. So, right now I can say that, as far as I remember, the cheapest land will cost 50 cents.
There are 6 districts in the biome, each extracting a specific resource, one for food.
No, it's more accurately described as a vital resource specifically for obtaining food, and indeed, food itself. In total, within the very first biome, we have discovered and identified 3 distinct and essential resources. Directly resources. And 1 resource is food. So, 4 resources in total.
And what about the quality of the land? What does it depend on?
The quality of the land depends on the district.
On the district, right. So what's the point of re-rolling if you can just go and buy in another district? Or is it that during the purchase? Wait, do I not choose the district?
No, you do choose the district. It's just that in a cheap district, you can buy the cheapest land, say, for 50 cents, and in an expensive district for $1. What's the difference? The difference is that the chance to roll, say, a legendary is higher.
So basically, in each district.
Legendary status. There are 5 rarities in each district.
Basically, each district has its own drop rates for the different rarities. Right?
Yes, that's correct. The better the district, the higher your chances of getting good land. So those who have a lot of pixel dust or a lot of sombered, it just makes sense that they go buy land in a good district. If you have money, you buy an apartment in the center, but if not, it's out in the suburbs.
And if, roughly speaking, in a bad district, in a cheap district, everyone just keeps rolling until they get a legendary, is it possible that, in the end, in this cheap district, it turns out that all the land there is legendary?
Yeah, that's possible, but the chances of that are extremely low. I think it's like 1 in a million for everyone to roll themselves. Legendaries. But at the same time, legendary land in a bad district, in a good district. In any case.
Let me repeat the last phrase again, legendary land. Will they differ in productivity depending on the district?
Well, yeah. So, not the same.
So, in the first track, we'll have 3 resources and a fourth one, food.
Yeah, for resources. 1 biome, 3,000 tiles, 3,000 plots of land, but we're not expecting all 3,000 to be bought. That's not the plan here. This is really about long-term development. And as clans level up, land will become more in demand. Because with each clan level, the number of buildings a clan can construct increases. And that's why we're not counting on all 3,000 tiles being sold.
All right, next question.
As clans level up and new users join, the land will gradually be bought up. After that, only trading between players will remain.
In the next clan iteration, 3 more resource types added, right? So 6 in total, plus food.
Well, that's when we introduce the new biome, yeah? But again, let's put it this way. All 6 types of resources are needed in the 3rd clan iteration, meaning when processing starts. So that'll come a bit later. For now, we're just mining. Pixel gives. We level up clans using pixel and dust. We buy land with pixel and dust, and by upgrading clans. We mine more resources. So, the higher the clan, the more resources we can extract. That is, the more buildings the clan can construct on these lands.
And so, in the 3rd iteration of clans, we'll be processing 6 types of resources.
No, we get pixel through processing. Why do we even need resources? In the 3rd iteration of clans, we'll have a building that doesn't mine resources anymore, but processes them. More precisely, they process pixel. So our entire processing chain converts pixel into the native token. That is, into a liquid token, not the native one, but a liquid token. And, accordingly, we need resources in order to build and upgrade these processing structures. So right now, we build a building to mine a resource, and we mine the resource. In order to upgrade, to build and develop a processing building, we use pixel, which is then converted into a liquid token.
And basically, when we build this final building, we will process the individual pixel we're currently mining, which are the valuable shards, and convert them into either the cryptocurrency pixel if it successfully launches at the token generation event, or alternatively, it will be the SBU, which stands for Standardized Blockchain Unit.
So, in our liquidity pool. In the end, there will be a certain amount that we will be mining. It will be constantly replenished from all the mechanics we have. In the project, it will be continuously topped up, and accordingly, users will mine this amount through the processing chain. So the scheme once again, first, create a syndicate. Or rather first, we mine a pixel. Second, we create a syndicate. We level it up. Next, we take a piece of land. We build a resource structure on it. We extract a resource. We use this resource to build a processing facility with which we mine, a liquid token. That's basically how it works.
All right, since we've touched a bit on the token topic, let me ask a few quick questions. Recently, there hasn't been much activity on them since the start of the project, but lately, some old new people have shown up, people who weren't in the chats before, and it's not just one person. Which is nice. Either our project has transformed, or maybe, let's say, nothing interesting is happening in other crypto projects. It's hard to say. We're developing, and so are other projects. Some are doing better, some worse. But still, that's why the same questions keep coming up. Well, I think even those who've already heard the answer will find it popular, or rather, useful, to hear it again. Is there any plan in the future to switch the NFT market, our marketplace, to transactions in Pixel?
We did have the idea. Initially, the plan was that using Pixel on the marketplace would just give you a discount or cashback. That is, naturally, we'll use it everywhere we possibly can. So yes, to put it briefly.
All right, second question. Have there been any changes to the plans for the token launch, and on which network? Is it possible to launch on several networks at once? I mean the liquid token pitch send.
Here, it's really just a question of liquidity. If you have a lot of liquidity, you can launch on 30 networks if you want. But if you have little liquidity, you'd be lucky to launch on just one. So here, it all depends on the amount of resources that will be accumulated in order to launch at the TG.
Is there any network that's a priority for us at the moment? Do we have any preference right now?
Yeah, honestly, there are a lot of interesting networks, so
Well, roughly speaking, it's not a must, because over there, in general,
either Ethereum itself, which is the foundational blockchain network, or a layer 2 scaling solution built on top of it. Yeah, no, on Swisstronik. Why would we even consider doing something like that? Again, it's a question of timing, but we never plan to launch on Swisstronik. Well, unless Swisstronik themselves invite us to launch there. Yeah, and for the third season, they won't be giving us a token in the pool yet. We could have considered it.
well, roughly speaking, the chances that we'll launch a token on something like Polygon or Aptos are 100 times higher at the current moment than it would be with Vestro.
Well, of course. Naturally, we'll be issuing tokens on a more active network, a more established.
So, a few specific questions about the syndicates. I don't know, Alexander, maybe you'll need to open some spreadsheets? Because the question is, what is the exact percentage for the logos in the syndicate? From my own experience, I can say that it feels like a legendary adds 3%. As for the others, it's unclear, because if a common is added, 0, maybe less than 1%. In my syndicate, where I'm a member, we've had a legendary drop, and it feels like a legendary adds 3%.
So I'd really like to hear the exact numbers, please. Well, it's not exactly as you say. It also significantly takes the overall clan level into account as a crucial factor within that specific formula, playing a very important role in the final calculation. But I can say this. If you unlock all the logos, it'll be about 50%, maybe a bit less. But at the same time, of course, we're also planning, in parallel, to introduce some mini mechanics or certain NFTs that will also add to this. So, aside from just the logos and so on. So that's just one way you can get this boost. Yeah, we also have clan-related ones. NFTs are planned as well. I think that's actually coming in the third iteration of clans. That's why we're trying to introduce everything gradually, not give it all at once. Because if you give everything at once, first of all, that's a lot of content. And basically, the whole point here is about progression. We develop the clan so that we have more slots for buildings, and accordingly, so we can bring more people into the clan, and so on. We increase this with our logos. After a while, when the average users have collected most of the logos, another mechanic will appear where you can get more. Also regarding the extraction of pixel dust, drones will be overgrown with all sorts of upgrades. Additional conditional boosts on the same principle, which will increase the speed of extraction, pixel, data, and so on. We will gradually and thoughtfully add these additional game mechanics that will significantly and substantially increase the percentage modifiers and, accordingly, the overall production modifiers Pixel will give.
It was a little choppy at the end, but the gist is clear. Again, a question about probability. They asked to see the probability of drones dropping from drone boxes by rarity. Use a SGB, use a USDT. Maybe I just thought, while you were looking, Alexander, prepare the infographics. Break time equals 0.5s/. When we had sales last summer, we meticulously made detailed infographics about all the boxes.
Ideally, of course, all this should be put into the menu, right away in the wiki.
No, even just publish it on the channel.
Then you will need to collect absolutely everything that we are currently missing, in terms of the crucial information, specifically the exact drop rates from all of the various chests. And we'll do it.
Or even right there, somewhere near the shop, like links to the shop.
All right, just look now. So the chance. The chance for a legendary from SGB chests is often 6.6%. From pixel chests, it's often 0.1%. Let's say the chance for a rare from pixel chests is 5%, and from SGB chests it's 20%, so 4 times higher. So the chance for legendaries is really low. It's been cut down a lot, while the chance for rares is only 4 times lower. The probability or chance for green, which specifically means uncommon, is approximately the same in both the Songbird part and the pixel part of the game. Basically, we have this information, and we can either add it to the menu if we have time, or post an infographic for anyone who's interested.
It would be most convenient to have it in the menu, at the very least. If we can't get it into the menu, then an infographic would be great. Next question. By the way, we forgot to check how much is left in the pool for Zara and Jade. For Jade, the pool wasn't limited. If I'm not mistaken, there was some stage given from Jade, and for Pazer, I think the pool is limited.
For Pazer, we had 10 million tokens. Last time I checked, which wasn't that long ago, we had taken about half. I'll check right now while you guys are talking. My VPN just broke, so I can't get into the dashboard to check. Everything's just broken here. Misha, did you say something?
The mic just randomly turned off. A personal question, since we started talking about VPNs. How many VPN services do you have on your phone? How many VPN services does a modern person need on their phone to be able to access any resource at any time? Unfortunately, the situation with global providers is so dynamic, and it's very regional. A lot of regions are actually experiencing this. Honestly, if it was truly that remarkably reliable and consistently successful, I just personally never really used it myself. It never quite got to me. I think I actually have 2 or possibly even 3. One of them simply doesn't work at all, then there's the second one, and finally, the third. One of them only ever starts on the 3rd try.
About modern times.
Like, if there's an opportunity, if we have the chance to set up a VPN service, maybe we could, Say, give our active users some kind of bonus, like access to our VPN service? Maybe.
We can set up a paid one if you want.
Maybe the paid one.
Well, basically, they're all paid anyway. Well, if they're decent, of course. So let's put it this way. It does take some work to set up a proper channel that would be enough for everyone. And overall, it would be relatively inexpensive per user. Let's set the task and see. If it turns out this has actually become a problem for a lot of people, both for our app and in general.
I can't check Explorer. It just won't load for me right now either, even with my VPN. Honestly.
A couple of weeks ago, I think, it was about the same. Now I just can't open the dashboard. It just won't load for me at all.
Speaking for myself, lately, well, I haven't opened Pixel with a VPN in a long time. It opens for me without a VPN. But unfortunately, the Network Explorer, no, scale. I have the biggest problems with scale. But again, it depends on the region and the provider. Everyone has their own issues. But in the end, I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of users are experiencing some difficulties with one resource or another. We're not even talking about things like YouTube and so on. So the next question is about JBuddha. Probably the last question about JBuddha. How are they doing? Maybe Oleg can tell us if he's been in touch. And we originally planned an NFT sale from JBuddha. So everything is still ongoing.
Let's put it this way. Like many others, they've run into some difficulties in the market. Why? Because let's say, well, not all projects. These guys have done more than one project, and there just weren't enough resources for all of them. That's why they slowed down a lot. But if we talk about their plans, they intend to finish the final version of the game and release it. But right now, a lot of people have paused development because, well, the market's been tough and people have simply run out of resources. And basically, it's a typical story, you could say, just everyday life. So for now, as far as I know, Buddha is on hold.
Well, they do have some activity going on.
What? No. But what kind of activity is it? They released that game, but when are they actually planning to make Jade itself? It's supposed to be the main token for all their products. So basically, whenever the team continues to release new products and so on, the Jade token will be in demand in all the games. So it doesn't matter if they release Jade or something else. They're not planning to abandon this token, so you can keep mining it. You'll have the token. In any case, even if there are some sales or something else, you'll still need these Jades. So we hope and believe that the guys will come back with a proper market, finish the game, and we'll be able to pick something up there too, maybe mine a bit. The idea there was pretty cool.
Well, last week they were giving out rewards to active users, or maybe there was a contest. I missed it, but I saw they were sending out rewards. Since we're talking about games, we had an announcement about Twilight Wars. We were supposed to give out keys. I think we haven't done that yet.
I have 10 keys for Twilight Wars. We can give them out in the Pole Cafe.
We need to give them out. We need to think about it.
There was an idea, actually, to make a post. And everyone who really wants to play, who's interested in this kind of game, should comment under that post, and then we'll randomly pick who gets in. That would be the fairest way.
I think that's a great idea. So the only thing I'd ask is that I'm not the one picking, but here's my idea. Under the post, people should write about the first games of this genre they played as kids or when they were younger. They should share their impressions of their first 1, 2, or 3 games in this genre. Well, give or take. Yeah, why not? I think.
We'll give away 10 keys in the near future.
Good idea. It'll be interesting to read. Some people will remember their youth, others their childhood. Maybe someone will remember a different life altogether. It looks like things are going well for the guys in Twilight Wars. Most likely, honestly, I haven't been keeping track.
In Twilight Wars? Well, I don't know their target metrics. I mean, what they were aiming for and what timelines they set for. Well, plus, that's all kind of internal information anyway, even if I did know it. But let's put it this way. At launch in China, for example, their numbers were way higher than they expected. That I know for sure. In America, conversely, numbers were lower than expected. So now they're mostly talking with Asians, targeting the Asian market. They're figuring things out. But overall, the game is working. Everything's fine. They rolled out a patch, and it seems okay.
Well, we're waiting for a mini contest or something. We'll do it as a separate post. And we need to give the keys because our guys really wanted to play. I saw that.
Right? Then we'll hand them out if there are people who want them. Honestly, I actually forgot.
I think themed comments. Well, I think if someone is able to write a themed comment, they definitely want to play, because they definitely needed more. So, I think you can ask Oleg questions about Pixar if Oleg is ready. Oleg, are you ready to answer questions about Pixar? Well, the first question, what's happening with Pixar right now? Well, we want to hear, how things are going.
Let me give a comprehensive answer.
Yeah, tell us everything.
At the moment, there isn't any particularly active work going on with Pixar. You could say it's on hold right now, but at the same time, we have, well, I'll keep it brief. So, we're planning. One of the points in the economic cycle in the lands is that our users will receive a liquid token. We decided that users can purchase the Pixar token for the amount we're supposed to issue to them. We'll be buying Pixar, accordingly, buying it from the pool, and then the user can either use it within the ecosystem or sell it back to the pool, which, again, will generate trading volume for the holders. Mathematically, it actually works out quite well within the clan system. So, yeah, the monthly volumes will grow nicely with this. Yeah. Also, you'll be able to use Pixar to buy in-game items within Pixely. There will be loot boxes you can spin to get something rare or interesting. And, accordingly, there will be integration of the DeFi aspect of Pixar into the Pixely ecosystem, when you'll be able to stake Pixar and get. Well, don't focus too much on the rewards just yet, but that's the idea. To make a premium pass for Pixar. So, if you stake a certain amount of Pixar, every week you'll get, say, a box with a drone, a box with boosts, maybe some pixel dust itself, or bonuses for clans. So basically, for holding Pixar, users get some kind of weekly reward in the form of NFTs, items, maybe land, maybe boost for clans or land. So, that's the current situation with Pixar. But unfortunately, we don't have any resources for marketing. Our partner Java didn't fulfill their obligations.
Well, let's hope that Pixar.
Let me add here, guys, that the team doesn't have any tokens. They're locked, and I think the first burn is going to happen soon, in July, right? The first burn will take place in July. So, from now on, volume rewards will be distributed more towards users. And, with each burn, more rewards will be distributed among users.
So maybe you could post in the Pixar chat when the first burn will be, because people have been asking and everyone is interested. So if you could share the date.
I'll check right now. What are we talking about? Right. That we're gradually working on integrating Pixar into the ecosystem.
Actually, allocating part of the ecosystem pool to Pixar isn't planned. The mechanics are different.
Right now, we're accumulating a pool for distribution within the clan system. Everything in lands, funds, accumulated in a pool users get in the clan system. There's already a pretty decent amount collected there.
Well, that's good news. But overall, I don't know, I've asked most of the relevant questions. I'd like to ask the guys to raise their hands. There will always be questions about things we haven't discussed. We've covered the main points, but usually, plus, as I understand it, we had a big connection problem. It's possible the guys will ask the same questions we've discussed. I'm a little,
The ignition will be on July 6th.
yeah, on July 26th, and I also lost audio in some places. Honestly, maybe Telegram is doing some updates, or maybe it's related again to the work of regional providers to our internet, right? I hope the recording will be much better. So, if anyone has questions, guys, raise your hand and I'll give you the floor. All right. Either we can't hear anything at all, or we'll just wrap up. Maybe Oleg or Alexander wants to add something. Maybe they wanted to answer some questions I didn't ask.
Well, here, about the design, not the new design, but more about the navigation, I wanted to talk more, because I know there was a debate in our test group about its convenience. We'll keep refining the navigation bit by bit, organizing everything into sections, and also improving the home button. Later on, you'll be able to customize some of those little windows at the bottom to your liking, so if you mostly go into the Miner, Friends, or somewhere else, you'll be able to set it up however you want. And I think that gradually people will get used to it. In any case, it feels more native now because we consulted a user experience designer who gave us some advice.
Well, in my opinion, the new design is more flexible and smoother, and it'll be much easier to adapt it to any changes. But again, that's just my subjective opinion. A quick question about the lands. Do you need to buy plots next to each other on the world map, or does it not matter at all where you buy them, like one in the top left corner and another in the bottom right corner?
Globally speaking, it doesn't really matter all that much. But locally, well, let's put it this way. In the second biome, it will actually be quite important to buy plots of land next to each other, because buildings that are above level 25 will take up not just one single cell, but two cells. If those two cells are in different parts, well, sorry.
You won't be able to place it, right? By the way, Sasha, we talked to the game designer about this. We plan to let players fence off their territories, have attacks on territories, and clan wars. It's important to buy plots next to each other, at least own.
Yeah, it's better to buy plots next to each other. First of all, it just looks nice, because all the land rented by the clan gets colored in the clan's color, with the logo right, and you can clearly see the whole area, what the clan actually owns. But if they're scattered all over the place, it just doesn't look that cool.
So it gets colored.
That's why it's definitely better to buy next to your neighbor. When you buy land, right? If there's a free plot next to you, you usually offer it to a neighbor or someone you know, right? It's the same here. It's better to settle next to each other. In the long run, it'll be more profitable. Right now, it doesn't matter where you are in the first biome, but in the second biome.
Yeah, I think it's actually better to try to gather together from the start.
Like I said, in the first biome, it's purely a cosmetic thing. Yeah, exactly. So it's just a visual thing. Like one clan owns this chunk, roughly speaking, on the world map. Yeah, it's just a cosmetic thing. In the second biome, though, it's practical, simply because buildings take up several tiles.
Emission. Honestly, I don't see questions.
Why is it so quiet today? No questions.
I think it's more of a connection issue, honestly.
I don't know. Someone raise your hand. Angel. Something isn't working on our end? Or just write in the chat. Maybe no one has heard us this whole time.
In that case, everyone would have left a long time ago. A meditation session.
It's just really strange that not even one person raised their hand for no reason. Someone, just raise your hand for a test.
Many haven't heard. Yes.
Well, that means we need to not hold it in Telegram next time. We can try Discord. So, Deno raises his hand, which means he hears. Let's give it to Deno.
Let's give Dino a hand.
Yes, everyone.
Here, I see.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Yeah, I raised my hand, but it didn't show up for some reason. Maybe it wasn't working. Then I raised my hand again, and I just got kicked out completely. Only now did the sound come on. When you were talking about VPNs, I raised my hand then too.
It wasn't you who got kicked out, because when they said raise your hand, about 5 people dropped out. Or maybe it's...
See, I just got kicked out again.
But just now, I gave the hand to different users than the Peter Chai Angel.
And the number of participants dropped by a very interesting, well, anyway, telegram.
Actually, my mic is on. I'm just listening carefully to everyone else. So, about the sound, yeah, everything was croaking and cutting out. But overall, the main thread of the conversation was clear. I really want to hear the recording as soon as possible, because honestly, a lot of people couldn't hear anything at all. So, my next question is about NFTs. At some point in previous AMAs, the question came up about what will happen to NFTs in Songbird after we finish mining Pixel. What will their fate be? So, in this particular situation, what can you clarify on this topic? Because I think that the price of NFTs is dropping largely because of this situation. Besides the general decline, the decline in the game, the decline in the market, obviously, things are tough for everyone.
But looking at the longer-term perspective about NFTs. By the way, this question has come up before. I've said all NFTs are in demand right now for farming Pixel. Second, they're in demand for current crafting to support it, like boosters, for example, and so on. Plus, all the content that will be released in the future related to NFTs, like NFT crafting, clan stuff, and so on. And there was also the idea to recraft, in other words, basically to make a box where you'll find drones and NFTs for clans, which will also be released with the next clan update. There will be new boosters, old boosters, and you'll be able to recraft current NFTs into new ones. So basically, these NFTs will also be recrafted, just into new ones, into new content. So either you'll get them this way, or you'll get them using NFTs. Basically, they'll always be in demand and always have a purpose. They won't just sit there as dead weights.
Got it. So, they're not finite. Second question, again bringing up the topic of boosters that were for the second miner. Given what's happening with Buddha right now, I'd really like the team to come up with something for them somehow. Maybe crafting, I don't know, using them somewhere, or basically inventing some way to burn them. I'm not sure, just something. Because right now they're just sitting there as dead weight and have dropped to 4 GB already. Because this topic was brought up at the last AMO, but now we're seeing some developments. Of course, there are a lot of tasks, land, and so on, but let's not forget about this topic either.
As for everything related to truly dead and used NFTs, we'll get to them and, of course, give them additional utility. So either you'll be able to break them down or maybe something else. We'll think about it, because right now, honestly, it's not our top priority. We want to focus on all the content we planned. Yes, syndicates, 3 iterations of syndicates, lands, a new referral system. We haven't talked about it yet, but it's already at a pretty good stage. Actually, users will like it too. And maybe it'll even help us bring in some influencers, because you'll get a specific cashback that you can collect daily from your referrals, and so on. So we'll release all of this, finish the cycle, and then we'll see what's next. We'll work with our clever mechanics and collections, which have dropped off for various reasons. Because in some cases we didn't finish something or didn't think it through, and in other cases, partners bailed on us. That's why, because the market broke down or something else happened. Of course, we'll tidy all this up and give it new meaning. Something like that.
All right, thanks. That makes sense overall.
Well, it looks like a lot of people are having connection issues. I think we should do a short 1-hour session today and wrap it up.
Let's take another 7 minutes for questions, then we'll wrap up. This will be our first short AMO session.
So, in general, let me sum up from my side. So, what's happening at the moment? We've been working on the new interface, which I also mentioned. We're working on the referral system. Accordingly, we're working on the syndicate system. There are 3 iterations there. First, just syndicates. Second, syndicates where you can extract resources. Third, processing. We're working on lands, meaning the world map and all the content related to it. So basically, this is everything we're working on right now. Plus, on top of that, we have boosters, second iteration, boosters for drones to speed up pixel dust mining and slightly accelerate clan development. That's pretty much everything we're working on now and planning to polish and release in the near future. So I think
Then we'll start fleshing all of this out.
in the next 3 months, we'll be focused on wrapping up this part of the project. And after that, we'll get to work on the next steps. We're planning to rework the leaderboards, make them more in demand, work on chests and clan achievements, and so on and so forth. So, basically, we will continue to keep refining all of the core mechanics in a continuous loop, keep working diligently on the user interface, and the very next significant step will be to focus extensively on onboarding, on a proper, comprehensive tutorial for all new users. Because lead marketing without tutorials in a project of this size is just a waste of resources. So after we sort out the onboarding, right now we're releasing content, and it's coming out at a pretty relaxed pace, so everyone will have the time and opportunity to get involved with it. And while users are learning, getting engaged, building their clans, their lands, and basically conquering the map, So we'll be working on onboarding and, hopefully, and then we'll be able to do marketing in a good market, because, well, our resources will also grow along with the market. It's no secret that part of the resources the project collects are gathered exclusively in Sandboard and in Scale. And we also depend here on the growth of these assets. We're not selling them right now. We're not exchanging them for dollars, because the market is down. That's how it is. And also, investors are generally more willing to come into a green market, into a ready-made project with an audience, where there's onboarding. It's much easier to raise funds for marketing with clear metrics than to do it for an unfinished project in a crappy market. So actually, we sit, work, try to please you with content, devote time. The project is big, so of course, we can't devote time to everything.
So maybe there's some possibility of referrals, a referral system. Can you hear it? Yes? Okay, I'm keeping quiet.
So who's speaking?
I'm trying to ask a question. I'm interested in the scale network because it took off, but now it's constantly like even the marketplace is losing value and the same NFTs are going down. Is there any development plan for them at all, or is the whole network on a long pause for now?
Well, again, as for scale, for now we're just mining it. So we're still mining that pixel, which is basically the TG one, right? We also talked about this at the last AMA, that in scale, for now, we're just mining a pixel, which you'll be able to exchange for liquidity at the TG, so to speak. That's it. But we'll get around to it as well. What's the idea here? That scale is a partner network. There's kind of a grant for activity there, right, in this network. But because activity is low, it's a double-edged sword. We can't unlock the tokens we'd be happy to distribute to users there, like happened with Swisstronik, for example. Well, yeah, they haven't had a listing yet, but I think they'll get listed, considering they're in touch, working, and doing quite a lot of work there. The guys are doing a good job. That's it. It's the same with scale. We need to boost activity there. But right now, we don't have enough resources, as we're focused on creating content. So, we can't drop the content and rush to scale. Nothing will work out. So, it's definitely in our plans. We're watching to see if the token grows a bit, and then we'll try to kick off some kind of initiative there, in that network. Maybe we'll come up with something interesting for it, to boost activity over there. We'll add some liquidity to make it more appealing for users to mine, so that some income starts coming in. So we're hoping for that. Right now, basically all the work there, yeah, it's really tied to partner networks and bringing liquidity into the project, and it's directly linked to the season. When the alt season hits in crypto, yeah, there will be investors, and the networks will be actively distributing and attracting users. Right now, well, basically, no one is really making any moves. So, like, I haven't heard about any partnerships or any big airdrops or anything like that happening out there. Everyone's just sitting around waiting for liquidity to come into the market, for global liquidity. Actually, if you look at the token prices of other projects on the same scale, you can see for yourself that, for example, Scale was worth 8 cents in a good market, and now it's down to 2 cents. In that sense, Songbird turned out to be a pretty decent asset for us, the one we chose. Yeah, it's only dropped about 3 times from its all-time high, which is really nothing. Whereas the market and hype projects have already dropped by 10 or 15 times. So in that sense, with Scale, we got lucky with it. Not Scale, I mean Songbird, sorry.
Yeah, let me pull up the project that launched through us. We supported Borea back then, bought the token. Minus 30 times.
That's really quite rough indeed, it is.
Well, if our SGB and Scale tokens go up, I think everyone will be happy. So, I want to get back to the question about the new referral system. Maybe you could share some details, Alexander.
Well, actually, we're going to write a post about that too. Yeah. The referral system is going to be completely overhauled, totally. So, the basic principle of it is going to be different. The idea is that the referrer will get a percentage of the tokens spent by the referral. So right now,
Not just tokens, but also in the store and SGB too.
well, whatever. By tokens, I mean crypto tokens, yeah. So that means songbirds, dollars, pixel, and basically, we're going to get a kind of cashback. Yeah. Right now, it works so that you only get pixel, which basically just trickles in from storage as an extra, like on top. So basically, like, this doesn't get taken away from the referral. Yeah, from the referrer's share. It's kind of given additionally from the reserve. So from now on, it'll be exclusively cash back from what you spend. That is, all the tokens from all the features available in the project. Again, this was originally programmed, planned, and included in our roadmap. That here, you'll be getting cash back from your referrals, your friends, from every point in the system. It doesn't matter if it's from the store, the marketplace, buying chests, or paid transactions. Basically, from everywhere, you'll be getting a percentage. This percentage depends on your upgrade level. So, the higher your level as a refer, not your referral's level, but yours as the refer, the more you'll earn. That's it. So, there will also be an upgrade level there as well. By the way, I won't say this with 100% certainty right now, but there was even talk about linking this rank. But I distinctly remember that we had decided there would be a completely separate referral rank. Or perhaps it would also be closely tied to the specific rank you currently have in achievements. Actually, this comprehensive system is truly meant to cover the whole ecosystem with points that will give you cash back from all the crypto tokens and crypto payments made by your referrals. So we hope, well, actually, it's not just hope, really. I mean, it's actually a pretty cool system, and from the start, we wanted it to be like this. It just turned out that implementing it wasn't as easy as we thought. Yeah, that's why we're only getting to it now. Yeah, anyway, a system like this, if it's properly advertised, marketed, and so on, yeah, it could really pay off in the future, especially when we start bringing influencers, ambassadors, and so on into the project again. So here, you're actually right in the moment, in real time. By the way, you can go right now to your new design, to ours, and on the main dashboard, in the Friends tab, or rather, in that little Friends box. There, you'll see Active and Reward. You can click there, and basically, the referral system is already there. So visually, you can already see what it's going to look like, right? So there will be a copy link, the number of active users, the percentage you get from your referrals, and a dashboard showing the amount of different coins, like Scale, SGB, and USDT. And once we successfully launch all of this, you'll be able to claim your rewards and receive them directly from your referrals. That's basically all there is to it for now.
Will this apply to all of your old referrals as well, or only to your new ones?
That's exactly what I wanted to ask. And from what point will the countdown start?
Well, the countdown will naturally start from the very moment the system is officially introduced, because, well, there's just no other possible way at all.
Got it. Referrals.
Old referrals work, but only from system introduction. Everything spent before, no cash back. Only new purchases get cash back.
That makes sense.
The first thought is it would have been great if it was like this from the start. Well,
Of course. All right. Then another question about achievements. You briefly mentioned ranks, and in the last AMA, you said there would be another batch of achievements. Did you mean the ones that will be in syndicates, or will there be some individual ones added soon as well?
no. As for all new content, as soon as we finish it up, we'll make another batch of achievements for the new content, yes. So once we finish the content itself, there will be syndicate achievements for it, land achievements, and so on. Basically, that's how it always goes. A new patch comes out, we cover it. A new network launches, we add achievements for that network. New content appears, we keep adding new achievements for it as well. Did the connection drop, or is everyone just quiet?
Looks like everyone's just quiet. I just wanted to remind you, again, we talked about this at the last AMA, that the NFTs we burned during the boost aren't counted anywhere in the achievements, as far as I know. Or maybe some of them are. I can't remember exactly, but there was some achievement we wanted to add for burning NFTs, which still hasn't been added. It would be good not to forget about it in the new batch. If I remember exactly which one it was in the lab, I'll write about it then.
Yeah, for me it was the boost, burning the boost during use well there.
Yeah, exactly. We burned a lot of NFTs, and they're not counted anywhere, even though at first they said they would be, but for some reason they're not.
I approved a couple more hands in the summer. Angel, you're in the test lab. You see the process.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you, Vitali.
So I have a question about.
About what exactly? I think your mic turned off. Yeah, I see that too.
Uh-huh. I think it's impossible to open up these lands if you're not in a clan. Or is it?
No, you can open up the lands. You just can't rent them out if you're not in a clan. So you can buy land for a conditional hold if you're solo. However, if you truly desire to rent out that land, you will absolutely need to join a suitable clan and diligently earn sufficient activity points from it. Otherwise, you can only resell it. But at the moment, yeah, but it's also kind of. I actually mentioned before that we don't plan to sell all 3,000 land plots. Right now, of course, like buying just to resell later. Well, that's a question, because obviously the good lands will be the ones that are valued. So here it's not about buying up all the plots. It's more about whether you get lucky with the roll or not. I mean, obviously, if you buy a piece of land and you immediately get a legendary one, then you've basically made your money back. Well, you've covered your costs, basically. So that's a valuable thing. Legendary lands are, well, a valuable thing. They're rare. That is, very few people will have them, because the chance of getting a legendary land is pretty low. So in the long run, of course, legendary lands will quite pretty much yield very well.
We definitely need to make an infographic by district showing the probability of getting each type of land. Initially, well, for the first roll, I think it's absolutely necessary to do this so that everyone understands.
But in the interface itself, you can't open the lands tab unless you're in a clan, as far as I understand.
No, we'll add a general one to the world map. Anyone will be able to enter. We haven't added it yet.
Ah, right, it's in the design. Become an Ice Lord, but it hasn't been added yet. That banner will be clickable later and will eventually take you precisely where you need to go.
All right, let's wrap up. I think more hands raised?
Come on, guys, raise your hands if you have any questions. Lyoka has his mic unmuted, but he's not saying anything. Alright guys, I'm stopping the recording then. Thanks, everyone. If you still have any questions, write in the chat or in the comments.
Yeah, it's better to write in the comments.
We'll be answering. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thanks as always. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you guys.